All right, good morning, guys. Welcome back. My name is Rich Mberikat, founder of Mberikat Ventures. We bring premium Nigerian foods and products to U.S. consumers. Visit our website at mberikat.com to learn more about our company and our services. So today's video, I'm going to cover if Nigerian exporters need NEPC certification to export legally. For those who don't know, NEPC is the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. NEPC is actually the only place that I know of that you can go to. Their website is nepc.gov.ng, where you can get information, up-to-date information on Nigerian non-oil exports. So they are funded and supported by the European Union. They're also supported by the Nigerian government as well as the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. So at the NEPC's website, you're going to find information on all things non-oil exports. You're going to find some export guide, export readiness information, how to register. They help you understand the export market in Nigeria. They help you build an export plan. There you can access some export documentations and procedures, logistics and freight, export pricing, export financing, legal issues. If you face some legal issues, NEPC is the place to learn a little bit more about it and also resolve some issues that you have. They have market information on agricultural commodities such as dry beans, cashews, cocoa, ginger, leather, sesame. Their location is headquartered in Maitama, Abuja, Nigeria. I registered with the NEPC back in 2022, so 3 years ago. So it's an all-comprehensive platform. Go to it. The NEPC website is usually the place that I go to get up-to-date information. I don't always follow what they have because some of the information that they have on their website is actually a little bit old. They don't do a very good job of updating it. So, but again, it's the best thing that we have that can get you all the information that you need regarding all non-oil exports. So they have news there. There's events there you can attend. I'm on the website right now. Yeah. So visit nepc.gov.ng to learn more about all things non-oil exports in Nigeria. So back to the topic. Do you need NEPC certification to export legally in Nigeria? So one thing is every Nigerian exporter needs, whether you choose to obtain the certification or not, you should definitely understand the role that the NEPC plays before shipping goods abroad. In this video, I'm going to explain whether the certification is mandatory, what it covers, how it affects your export documentation at Nigerian ports and U.S. customs. So at Mberikat, we focus primarily on U.S.-Nigeria export corridor. That's our specialty. We've been doing it now for 5 years. As far as like other markets, we don't cover other markets. For instance, we have no experience exporting from Nigeria to, let's say, Canada or exporting from Nigeria to Europe. Our main specialty, we are very, very niche. We focus specifically on U.S.-Nigeria exports. That is both ways, whether you're exporting from the United States to Nigeria or you're exporting from Nigeria to the United States. That is what Mberikat specializes in. So in this video, what I'm going to cover is when NEPC registration is required. This is based on our own personal experience. How to obtain your NEPC exporter certificates, the benefits of being a certified exporter with the NEPC, what happens if you export without NEPC registration. So if you are exporting made in Nigeria goods to the US or other markets, this is essential information for you to stay compliant and build credibility in international trade. So the first point is this: when NEPC registration is required. Now it depends on where you are as an exporter. If you are just dabbling into export for the first time, you're interested in it, you don't really know what you're doing, you really don't have a solid business at the moment, you just want to explore and even see if it's something that you may or may not even enjoy doing, my advice is you don't need the certification at the very early stages of your business. You should focus on, first and foremost, building a solid foundation for your business, exploring, because when you're trading or working within the borders of Nigeria, as far as like business goes, it's a little bit different when you start expanding outside of the country, or you're looking for international buyers, or you're looking for international clients. It's a different process. It's something that I've learned that you are either going to enjoy doing it or you're not, because the expectations, I'm not saying that Nigeria has low expectations. All I'm saying is the expectations from the international audience for importers, let's say US importers looking at importing Nigerian products, is much higher. The quality standards are a lot higher. They demand a little bit more than if you were to deal locally in Nigeria. So this can either entice and encourage you to want to do more, or it can turn you off. So when you realize that the expectations from, let's say, a US buyer, US consumers, is something that you are not willing to deal with or you are not willing to handle, if the expectations are much higher than you can take, you are not going to enjoy exports and imports. Because you got to realize that when we're exporting pallet loads of products, or when we're importing pallet loads of products, I'm going to talk about myself now. My requirements from my suppliers, my requirements and the quality standards that I require in order to be able to meet the everyday needs of US consumers is much higher. So I'm always applying pressure. I want the best from my suppliers, the best quality, the best packaging, the best processes, the best logistics. All of this can either be a turn on or a turn off for you. So before going out there and investing time and money into obtaining an NEPC certificate, decide if export is really something that you want to do. And you have to make a decision if it's something you want to do long term, or if it's something you just want to do short term. If you're dabbling at it on a short term basis, then I wouldn't recommend you to go through the process of obtaining it, because at the end of the day, you are just going to have a piece of paper that you can't really use. That's not going to benefit you other than to say, oh, I have an NEPC certificate. Obtaining an NEPC certificate isn't going to grow your business. What it does is it just helps you stay compliant depending on the level that you are. Now, based on NEPC's website, they're saying that it is a requirement for every exporter. And you can go on their website and check this out. As far as like registration for exporters, they're clearly saying here, all businesses interested in exporting must register as an exporter in Nigeria. That is not entirely true. If you are interested in exporting, learn the business first. Learn customer service, learn packaging, learn branding, learn how to position yourself to be discovered by people internationally who are looking for products and services that you offer. Do you have a niche? Are you a niche exporter, meaning you are focused specifically on certain sectors, for instance, food and agriculture, or in other cases, some people might just be running a brokerage business where they don't necessarily hold inventory, but they work with, let's say, aggregators, or they work with farmers, or they work with wholesalers, and um, uh, people who purchase goods in bulk and hold it to sell at a later date. So that way, these brokerage businesses, they come in as a middle person, and then they help connect buyers and sellers. That is also a niche, a part of exports that people can tap into. That's actually how I started 23 years ago in import and export. I started off as a broker at first, connecting buyers and sellers and and collecting a commission on every deal that I put together. So before going out there, spending time, spending money, uh, trying to obtain it, ensure that this is something that you'd want to do, and this is something that you actually enjoy doing. Now, if you decide ultimately that export is really what you want to do, you've done all of your homework, you've established a social media presence, you've gauged or tested demand for the products and services, because it doesn't always have to be exports, doesn't always have to be products alone. It could also be services. Are you a broker? Are you a logistics provider? These are services that are that are needed in the export value chain. Now, if you've decided that this is absolutely what you want to do, you want to export, then it makes economic and business sense for you to then start looking into how you can obtain the NEPC certification. And in order for you to obtain NEPC certification, you are going to have a registered business with the CAC, because they are going to take your CAC registration number, and they're going to use it to issue you the NEPC certificate. And what that does is it basically officializes you, I guess, in some way, legitimizes you as an exporter. And with the NEPC certification, you could literally walk into any port in Nigeria, whether it's Tinkan Island port, Apapa port, or Port. With that valid NEPC certificate, you can walk into that port and do some inspections, or reach out to logistics providers within, because now this shows that you are an actual true exporter, because they're going to require this information. Before you gain access to any port in Nigeria, they're going to want to know, are you legally and officially registered with the NEPC? And if so, where is your certification? Where is that document? And if you have a valid document, yes, they'll give you access. You can walk in there, inspect, look at warehousing, look at how things are operated. For those who are now, for those who have decided that this is what they want to do long term. But if you're just testing the waters, you're not quite sure, you're still growing your business, you're still trying to figure out the niche where you can best be of value in the export value chain, hold off, hold off on registering and obtaining that certificate. Hold off at the very early stages. For us, so we started exporting from Nigeria to the United States in 2020. I did not obtain my NEPC certification until 2 years later, because what I wanted to make sure was I wanted to make sure that it was something that I would enjoy doing. And again, I struggled at the very beginning as well, because I didn't really have a mentor. I didn't really have somebody in the space that was doing exactly what I wanted to do, meaning connecting US Nigeria markets. So I wanted to make sure, because prior to pivoting to Nigeria in 2020, I mean, I was dealing primarily with China. I was in a US China export import corridor for 17 years before moving to Nigeria in 2020. So I really wanted to make sure that it's what I really wanted to do. And once I made that determination that we were going to hone in and plant our flag in Nigeria and do business with Nigeria, it made sense then to go and obtain that certification. And then I don't know what the validation is today, but back then it was like 18 months. I believe it should still be the same, because back when I obtained my certificate, it was under a different leadership. Today, 2025 is under a new leadership. So they may have different rules and different processes, or different timelines, but it's really a good thing. Like I said, it doesn't, I can honestly tell you that having the certificate has not moved the needle for my business one bit. It doesn't help me gain more clients. It doesn't help me understand the the marketplace any better. It really does. It really doesn't. It's just a document. It's just a paperwork that just shows that you are in compliant, and as that now you are officially an exporter. That's really what it does. But once you obtain that document, you are now officially an NEPC member. So you can utilize all of the resources that they provide. For instance, they offer training, they put events together. You know what I mean? You can then tap into those events and those training that they offer in order to grow your business. I was part of their the WhatsApp group for quite some time, but I ended up leaving it because it wasn't really as engaging. And as from what I recall back being, I mean, I was with that WhatsApp group for a whole year, but I felt like I was actually doing more. I was the most engaged member on that platform. It almost felt as if I was leading that platform. I'm talking about the NEPC WhatsApp group. Now, things may have changed. I mean, I left in 2023, 2020, early 2024. Things may have changed, but I didn't feel like I was getting value from being on the WhatsApp group, and that's why I left. So now, how do you then go if you decide that this is really what you want to do? How do you then go about obtaining this exporter certificate? What I did in 2022, I just went on Instagram and I hashtagged NEPC, and then I saw quite a few service providers on Instagram who were offering um, certification services. Now, remember, the certification fee itself is the same. Like NEPC charges the same for small businesses, mid-sized businesses, large conglomerates. The fee is the same. What differs is what each service provider charges. So I went through the process. I mean, there was a point where somebody was quoted me, I think, ₦1 million or something like that. Some ridiculous amount was what they quoted me. But after further research, I was able to find a business agent who I still use today. They handle all of my Nigerian documentation, from NEPC registration to my car registration to helping me set up my CAC license. So you can go that route. You could do the research yourself, try to find a service provider on platforms like Instagram. You can look on platforms like Fiverr. You can look on these different social media platforms. But my advice is shop around. Don't just settle on one service provider. Shop around first. Shop around first. Get 2 or 3 quotations and then go with your gut. Go with the person that you feel, number one, and these are like some of the KPIs that I will look at. How good is their communication skills? How fast do they respond to inquiries? So don't make your decision based on price alone. Some people may offer you a lower, cheaper price, but then they are going to stress you out from day one. They don't know what they're doing. And you're going to have others that may offer you a much premium, higher price, but the services that they provide is top notch, international quality service. So you got to make up your mind what is important to you. Is it speed or is it a cheaper price? Okay. Now, if after all of this, I'm doing something in Pakistan right now, so I'm getting a text message about it. So if after all of this, you realize that you know what, you are just not getting the results that you want with these people, and again, that's what it's all about. It's all about results. If you're not getting the results that you want, you can then reach out to me, contact me, bearcat.com/contact, or if you happen to find my WhatsApp number, you can reach out to me and then we'll see what we can do with you through my business agent, the agent that I've been using now for 5 years that does all of my documentation. We'll see how we can help you obtain your NEPC certificate. And again, remember too, it's going to be based on where you are in your business. If you are just starting out and you don't know what you're doing, you're just testing the water, I'm telling you, do not get that certification because it's going to cost you money to apply for it. You're going to pay the service provider their service fee. But if you are ready to go, you're ready to pull the trigger on your export business, then you can reach out to me if you've exhausted your search for a service provider that's going to help you obtain the certificate. You can also go on the website too if you want to do it yourself. There's nothing wrong with the DIY process, the do-it-yourself process. You can go on their website easily, get started on registering. You can register yourself. You don't need a service provider to do that for you. But here is the challenge that you're going to face. It's going to cost you more time and stress and headache than if you were to just go hire somebody that knows what they're doing. So you can use that time to focus on growing your business. When it comes to Nigerian documentation, if I need anything in Nigeria, I don't do it myself anymore. I mean, I tried initially when I first started facing Nigeria, but I just realized that you send out an email, you're not going to get a response back for weeks. Some of the infrastructures and the digital platforms don't really work. So these people who like this is their job, it's what they do. They help businesses obtain certification through NEPC or CAC. They have their internal contacts that they use. They could walk into these offices and leverage the relationships that they've built with these internal contacts to be able to get you what you need. Ultimately, that is what you want, especially if you're remote based abroad like I am. I'm in the United States, Las Vegas, Nevada. You don't physically need to be in Nigeria to get your NEPC certificate if you are interested in exporting out of Nigeria. Okay. So always utilize professionals to do these little things for you. Pay that extra fee for their services. Utilize professionals who know what they're doing, who have experience doing this. Avoid trying to go at it alone. You can, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm telling you, it's going to cost you more time. And by the time you factor in the time that you've wasted, not knowing what you're doing, the stress is going to cost you. It's actually going to be a lot more expensive than if you were to hire a service provider who knows what they're doing. So let me backtrack a little bit now. Can you still export out of Nigeria without NEPC certification? The answer is yes. Chances are the logistics provider that you use, they have that certificate. They can in turn serve as your exporter of record. So your role is just obtaining the goods and allowing the freight forwarder or the logistics agent or the logistics business that you use, let them do all of the heavy lifting. Let them use their relationships with the NEPC. Let them use their relationships with different agencies that are involved, like NAFDAC and what's this one? NDLEA, phytosanitary, like all of these multiple agencies, SON that are involved. These professional freight forwarders, they have those relationships. So in that way, all you can do is just relax and let them work. Now, that is if you're doing it on a micro export level. But when you start getting into container loads, or you start obtaining and attracting bigger buyers and bigger clients, you are definitely going to need to have that NEPC certification in your company name to show that you mean business. Because let's say because these guys are going to vet you. The higher that you go in exports, the more revenue that you generate in exports. When you start attracting bigger companies, clients with a much bigger buying power, they are going to eventually vet you. They are going to reach out to organizations like NEPC and say, okay, is Embarrated Ventures a member? We want to do a multi-million-dollar deal with him. We want to do a deal worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Is Embarrated Ventures a member of the NEPC? They're going to vet you. They're going to vet your supply chain. They're going to vet your business. They're going to make sure that you're registered with the CAC as you grow in your business. But if you're just doing like one exports here, one export there, maybe you have a couple of clients here that are buying maybe 20 kg of products from you, 100 kg here, 50 kg there. While you can continue using these logistics services who already have an established NEPC presence, on the side, you can now apply for your own certification under your business. Okay. So, what are the benefits of being a certified exporter? It's just legitimacy. It legitimizes you, but it doesn't necessarily move the needle. You do not get more clients because you are NEPC certified. You don't. You can still export out of Nigeria without certification legally. So long as you use a company, which I can tell you 100% of all of the logistics providers in Nigeria, anyone that is involved in the movement of goods from Nigeria abroad, they are certified with the NEPC. Just use them. Okay. So aside from being an NEPC member, meaning you have access to their training programs, you have access to up-to-date news and current events, you are able to go to these different trade shows that they may hold or put together. I don't see any other benefit. But that's a huge benefit, though, if you are on ground in Nigeria, because they do. I've seen them quite a bit hold some of these training programs. They work with government agencies. Part of the benefit that you can get to is also networking. You could build relationships within NEPC. When I was when I was a member of NEPC, although nothing really materialized from it as far as like relationship building, because ultimately everything that I have today, from my logistics provider, from my to my business agent that handles all of my documentation, I found all these people outside of NEPC's ecosystem. I found them on my own. So you're going to have a lot of, especially let's say if you were to join their WhatsApp group. I don't know if that WhatsApp group is still in existence or not. They are going to let you know once you become a member. They're going to send you an invitation. Oh, yeah, by the way, and I think it's like 25,000 naira a year. That is not part of the NEPC's certificate fee, though. That is something entirely different. If you want to join their WhatsApp group, then in 2022, it was, I think, 25,000 a year was what I paid. Now it may be more. But you're gonna find some conversation, some documentation, not documentations. They engage in a lot of like chats about exports. But just from my experience, I wasn't able to find any value being in that group for a year, and that is why I left. Okay. So what happens if you export without NEPC registration? Nothing happens. They can't fine you, they can't sue you, they can't stop you. So long as you are exporting through a logistics company or through a company that has that's NEPC certified, you are perfectly fine because you are covered under their umbrella. That's it. You could export legally without being a certified NEPC member. But as you scale and as you grow in your business, if you are serious about being an exporter and not just testing the water, just go ahead and just get the certificate just to say that you have it. And it's valid for 18 months. I don't know how much they charge now, but expect to pay the certification fee. You're gonna pay, these are what you should be budgeting for. You're gonna pay the certification fee. I don't know how much they are now. You are going to pay the service provider that's going to apply on your behalf and file on your behalf and monitor the progress on your behalf. You're going to pay them for their time. That is if you don't do it yourself. And then additionally, the WhatsApp group, whatever they're charging now, if you want to become a part of that, which to be honest with you, I would recommend that you join their WhatsApp group and pay that 25,000 naira fee. It may be more now, but that's what I paid back in 2022. Just to see the conversations that are going on in that group. And if you need, look, when I was sourcing, and I would put out an RF, a request for quotation through NEPC's WhatsApp, the rate that I was getting for the commodities that I was sourcing for was like 4 times the rate that when I went out on my own and started building my own supply chain, building my own relationships, I realized that I'm able to get a much better rate and better quality commodities just outside of NEPC. And you have to remember a lot of farmers, aggregators, wholesalers, they are not NEPC members. Manufacturers, they're not NEPC members. A lot of these guys you are going to find in your villages. They don't know how to work a mouse. They don't know how to get online and deal with the internet. So if you are just determined, or you are just focused on just you only want to do business with NEPC members, I'm telling you, you can do that, but ultimately you want to build your own supply chain from the ground up like we did. Start going out there. Put your name out there. Put out your RFQs out there. What are you looking for? Are you looking for wholesalers? Are you looking for aggregators of agricultural commodities? Are you looking for manufacturers of consumer products? You got to start building your own supply chain so you are not dependent on any PC. Okay, so are you ready for exports? If you are absolutely ironclad, unequivocally ready for exports, go ahead and obtain that certification. Go ahead and register it at NEPC and get your exporter certification so you are in compliance. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Go to Mbericat.com. My contact information, Mbericat.com/contact. And as always, be sure to like, share, and comment on this video. And I will see you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay. All the best.